everyone, welcome back to another video. If you don't know who I am, that means you're new. I'm Mark. What's good with y'all? Go check out my other videos. Check them out. Check them out. Sorry, I had to make sure the microphone was still on. But first, let's get right into it. You saw the thumbnail. You read the title. I almost said you saw the title. You read the thumbnail again. Jesus Christ. Let's get right into it. So, bolt action rifles, are they good for self-defense? We already have the answer. We already know the answer, but hey, fuck it. I did lever action. So why not do bolt action as well, right? So a bolt action rifle, for those of y'all who somehow don't know, picture the Mosin Nagant. Fire round. You manually have to grab the bolt, action, or at least eject the round, get the next round into the chamber. It's a very old technology, just to say the least. It is very, very old. So let's clarify that right now. And in all reality, it's more likely than not going to be considered something that's obsolete when it comes to a self-defense situation. However, with that being said, don't expect a high score on this one. It's not gonna break the charts. All right. So let's get right into it. Home defense. So bolt action rifles, for starters, they're usually in some pretty kicking rounds right here. I've shot a Mosin Nagant that's in 7.62 x 54R. We're dealing with some beefy rounds when it comes to bolt action rifles. They are, I guess you should say, not a joke, or as the kids would say, no cap, it is bussin'. Sorry, I'm just fucking around with y'all. But for real though, bolt action rifles, they are often chambered in some pretty powerful rounds that do pack quite a fucking punch. So there are some pros and cons to it, obviously. Pros being that the rounds do pack a punch. So if you at least hit your target, then yeah, there's a pretty good chance that you're gonna, probably stop the target. However, there's also, as a con, a really good chance that you're going to overpenetrate and probably fuck up your own wall or some shit like that, where if you live in an apartment, for example, you risk it going through the wall, hitting your neighbors. There's a lot of risks that come with it, considering how powerful the rounds generally are. So just remember that. Now, of course, you can get a bolt-action rifle in much smaller calibers. I've seen some chambered in 5.56. I've seen some in 308. 308 is not really a small caliber, but regardless, the whole point is simply that, depending what caliber you're getting, it can be good. It can be really good. It can also cause some problems while being really good at the same time. That's really all based off what you're looking for in the caliber itself. However, regardless of what caliber you get, something that is the same with all bolt action rifles is you pull the trigger once, and then you're going to have to manually operate the bolt itself to get a new round into the chamber, so that way you can fire again. That's simply how they all work. That's just what it is, which takes a good little bit of it takes your eyes off your sights, because I hate to be real with you guys, most people aren't going to be able to sit there and hold it up while still keeping, their sights lined up and their eyes down, I guess range would be the way to say it, on their target. That's just not going to happen. On top of that, it takes at least a second or two for you to do such a thing. So it's not going to be the quickest for you either. So just remember all of these things. It's not going to be the quickest for you. You are going to have to realign your sights on target again, so that way you can make sure you're getting accurate shots. Overall, it's not looking the greatest. However, as I said before, depending what caliber you have it in can really change that outcome, I guess, because in all reality, no matter what, each time you have to get a new round into the chamber of your bolt action rifle, it's going to take an extra second compared to a semi-auto. You're going to have to sit there and realign your sights. So no matter what, at that point, hey, why not pick a caliber that's more likely than not to do a job, or do the job at least, like 308, But that's all based off what caliber you choose and what you would want, you know what I mean? So it can be good, it can be not as good. No matter what, you're kind of at a disadvantage, considering most people have semi-auto guns, and most people who break into homes bring semi-auto pistols with them, usually Glocks, some with switches. So you're not even dealing with semi-auto anymore. You're dealing with full auto. Like, so regardless, home defense, while it can do the job, any gun is better than a knife, I guess. You know, any gun is better than a knife. It can do the job. Is it the best? Not by any standard. I think we all knew that. I'll give it a 3 out of 10. And keep in mind, guys, with how much technology has advanced throughout time since the creation of bolt action rifles, which we're looking at a good long while ago. That's not too bad of a score for it in all reality. A 3 out of 10, considering all the advancements we have in technology, that's pretty decent, another con, at least for home defense, when it comes to bolt action rifles, is that unless you send them out to get some custom shit done to them, the chances of you being able to, have for example, a pick rail or something along those lines, so you can put some shit on there like light, laser, red dot optics, whatever, that's not going to happen. I'm sure you can find a scope to put on there, but who's going to use a scope on a bolt action rifle for a home defense situation? That's stupid. Regardless, so concealed carry, obviously, that's non-existent. No one's concealed carrying a bolt action rifle. Just imagine, you piss someone off and they just pull this shit out and just give you like a George Washington style greeting, like, thou about to meet the maker, some weird shit like that. Sorry, that's all I think about. Jesus Christ. Oh, damn, sorry. The dog's in the room with me. She just fucking gassed me. Oh my God. Oh, I have some jokes I can make, but I don't want to because I don't want my videos getting taken down by YouTube. So regardless, let's not dwell on that topic of, what jokes I can make that are going to get me taken off, because I'll be here all day and all night, and so will you guys. Regardless, back to bolt action rifles, you're not going to be concealed carrying them. So obviously, that's just off the table. Now let's move on to shit hits the fan. Shit hits the fan. That's I'll be honest, you're not looking at too much of a better score here than you would with home defense. All the same standards really apply because nothing has changed with the gun itself. Now, what honestly hinders its score even more is that in a case of shit hits the fan, we're truthfully talking about a state of mass lawlessness, meaning the chances of gun stores being open for you to get new parts or send it off to a gunsmith if something's broken so that way it can be fixed is slim to none. Probably never going to be able to happen. So what would you be left to do if a part breaks on your bolt action rifle? You would be left to either improvise or you would be left to try to scour and find a new part. How likely is it going to be that you find a new part? Now, there is a pro in the aspect that, military surplus, regardless of whether it's our military or not, is decently popular. So you might run into something. It's nowhere near as popular as, say, an AR-15 is. Bolt action rifles compared to AR-15s nowadays, or any really semi-automatic rifles that are somewhat modernized, you are much more likely to find parts for than a bolt action rifle in a shit hits a fan situation. So really, you're not looking too great for shit hits the fan when it comes to bolt action rifles. Remember, guys, we knew that this wasn't going to be a very high score. We knew this. All right, so I'll be fair enough to say that while, as I said before, with home defense, it might be able to do the job. It is better than a knife, of course. It still is nowhere near your most optimal, considering the fact that you have all that time that you have to sit there and operate the bolt in between each round you're firing off, so that way you can get a new round into the chamber. That takes time. That takes your eyes off your sights, which means that you're not aiming on your target correctly. So you're going to have to realign your shit, get your shit back together, so that way you can fire accurately once you do get the round in the chamber. It's just a bunch of extra shit that isn't going to be helpful in a shit hits the fan situation, or really in any self-defense situations. Now, moving on, I guess the next aspect, it gets a tiny bit higher of a score, really due to the fact that they can come in some really beefy and hard-hitting calibers, which is animal defense. Animal defense, you guys I think that's what I've settled on, at least. I'm not going to do nature defense or anything. Animal defense, I think, is the best way to describe it, because we're not defending ourselves from nature. It's not like a tornado is going to hit and we're going to be like, fuck it. That's not like that's what's happening here. So animal defense, I think, is a better name to go for it. But regardless, I know some of y'all have been wondering what the final fucking answer on that was. Regardless, animal defense. Are bolt action rifles helpful for defending yourself against an animal? Depends what animal, of course. Depends what caliber it is in as well. You know what I mean? As I said before, I've seen some bolt actions go from 5.56. I've seen some in some 6.2 by 54R. Hell, I've even seen a 50 BMG bolt action. It's it really all just depends on what caliber you're using. But let's say for shits and giggles, you're just using a pretty higher up caliber. We won't even say 308. We'll say 7.62 by 54R. All right. You will probably be able to stop a great deal of animals with a caliber as beefy as that if you just get your shot on target. Now, for anybody who's ever been attacked by a wild animal or a feral animal, or really just a street animal, or even chased by one, if you guys have ever been chased by a dog, you know damn fucking well that you did not have a lot of time to start running. You just started running. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. So imagine, let's say, you really, were about to defend yourself. You missed your shot, and then you had to sit there. Just, fuck. You know what I mean? Then no. Look, at least you get a higher, grade, I guess you can say, in the aspect of at least it's not a possible shootout where you're already getting shot at. However, you still are dealing with very much so an active threat that is trying to get at you as quickly and as aggressively as it can. So not too much of a higher score, really, but still a tiny bit better, in that aspect, I guess you could say. You know what I mean? But still, if you were in a situation where any animal is trying to attack you and is a threat on your life, you don't want to waste any time to be able to get around into that animal to defend yourself. And once again, bolt action rifles, that's just how they work, is you're going to have to waste that extra second or two. Now, with that being said, that I'm going to be nice this time. I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 10. You know what I mean? I'll give it that little extra 0.5 above the home defense. You know what I mean? That puts it at an average of like 30%, I think, something like that. Wait, yeah, 30%. That's a failing grade in every school system, really. However, just remember, guys, let's make this clear. I want to point a couple of things out. The reason why it has such a low, I guess, grade, you could say, when it comes to my scale, is due to the fact that technology is so much more advanced. Technology is so much more advanced that it's not even a question that, compared to something like a semi-auto rifle, a bolt action is basically useless. You know what I mean? Compared to a lever action, rifle, we're working with a little more of a fair comparison, But once again, as we've seen throughout time, technology has progressed, which means there have been extreme advancements in firearms. So therefore, what was extremely useful way back when is most likely not going to be as useful right now in today's day and age. Now, just because they're not useful for self-defense, or at least they're not the best for self-defense, does not mean you should not own bolt action rifles. Bolt action rifles are great for hunting. I should have added that when it came to, Shades of Fan. You know what? I'm going to give Shades of Fan another 0.5. Still, a failing grade, but regardless, is that bolt action rifles are often very good for hunting. Bolt action rifles are often just fun to have. They're cool. You know what I mean? Like, guns as a whole are dope. So just because a gun might not be the best for self-defense, for example, like bolt action rifles, they might not be the best for self-defense, doesn't mean you shouldn't get them. Doesn't mean they don't have other uses that they are extremely good in. It doesn't mean that it's not just something cool that you want to own. You know what I mean? You should still get it. regardless of whether you feel that, hey, this guy said it's not good for self-defense, if you want one, go get one. I'm going to own some too, regardless of how I feel about them for self-defense. With that being said, y'all make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that bell. When you hit that bell, hit all. And because you agree with me, bolt-action rifles, pieces of history, honestly, super fucking fun to play with as well. They look neat. They just not the best for self-defense. If you agree with me, make sure to check out all my other videos. Y'all make sure to stay legal, stay safe, stay dangerous. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.